So before the dowry talk, I need to take a breath. So it's been a hot minute. I've been gone. I had these dreams and aspirations to grow this page to be something that I could be proud of and engage with. And then life hits. But not in a bad way. Like, definitely not in a bad way. Like, I got married. Like, I got married this summer, and I just took the summer to enjoy my husband and hang out with him, and you know, because life sometimes can be crazy. But yeah, guys, I'm married. It was a really, really fun day for all of us. But prior to getting married, it was the planning of it that really, really took over my life. Because, believe it or not, I got engaged in October of 2021. And then I got married in July. And prior to that, we didn't really have plans of like how the wedding is, and it just happened to be, it was gonna be July. So I put my big girl panties on and got to planning a wedding. So that's where I've been. But it's been great. So I'm excited to share with you guys all the steps that it took for me to plan a wedding in less than a year. A wedding of 300 people. So if you guys want that content, leave it. I have it coming. I like how I budgeted for it, how I planned for it, all by working. And I was working 2 jobs during that time to make sure I accomplished my goals without being in debt for my wedding. And that was the biggest thing I wanted, is not to be in debt for the wedding. So yeah, I was busy. I booked like busy. So we did 2 weddings in less than 24 hours back to back. We did our traditional wedding, and when we did our church wedding the next day. So I'm gonna talk to you guys the process of how I got from engaged to do the traditional wedding, and what it is to be in a South Sudanese culture, meshing 2 tribes, having a tribal wedding, and what does that look like. So let's get to the story time. But first, I'm gonna drink my tea. A little thing about me and my boo, my husband. We're both from 2 different tribes. He's from the Nuer tribe in the South Sudanese community, and I'm from the Shilluk tribe in the South Sudanese community. But things get complicated because I was raised by my aunt and uncle, who are like, they are technically my parents. You can't tell me no difference. And my uncle, he's Nuer. And my aunt is obviously Shilluk because she's my mom's sister. So my uncle didn't want me to be treated any different, and he said, "You want to marry her? She's my daughter. You're going to marry her in my tribe," which is the Nuer tribe. So in the Nuer culture, when you get married to a girl, there's a steps that has to be taken before we get to the IVs or before anything else. So there's things like the girl talk, the dowry, and so forth and so on before you get that. And the first step is the girls talk in the Nuer culture. So the girls talk, from my experience, it's conspired of your husband's friends, cousins, just the youth, like the male youth around him, their brothers, everybody come together, and they meet with the girls on my end, which are like my sisters, my cousins, my friends, and they negotiate the girl's price. So in order for him to propose to me, in order for him to even step to my dad, him and his friends and my friends had to come to agreement. So technically it's like his friend had to bribe my friends into saying, let my friend get married to your friend, let us see her, we want her as the bride, we want her as the wife, and put in a good word for us to your dad. So they had to come and negotiate, and this negotiation took place at my mom's house, and this negotiation started from like 9:30 till 3 a.m. Like, nobody was letting up. So because the guys have to pay up, and they don't want to pay up much, so there's all these other like tricks and nips that go into it. So by the time they kind of came to an agreement, it was about like 3 a.m. in the morning, and everyone was tired. So after that, it was officially the time where I could finally come down and meet everybody, and I was dressed in my traditional, Shilluk Lao clothing, and I got to meet everyone in his community. now. No one's saying anything because the negotiation's done, and I get to go see my man finally. Then after that, he proposed to me in front of all our friends and families that were there at my parents' house, in front of everybody.
Okay, here we go. All right. Good deep breathe. Nancy, do me an honor. Be my wife.
And that's what, like those moments I can never take back. Like, he's a G. But I never thought about, I never thought about how I wanted to get proposed to. But that moment, when I relive it in my head, I'm like, that is actually the perfect moment, because it saved me a lot of phone calls, to be honest. Like, because majority of the people that I would have to call and say, hey, I got engaged, they were all there, and they had their own videos and shoot and all that and so forth. So that was the first step. The second step before we get to the aisle is his dad and my dad have to sit down with the elders in the community, the men in the community, and do a dowry. That is the traditional in majority of the Nilotic tribes in South Sudan. So it was no different here. And this took place the day before our church wedding, which would be the day of our traditional wedding. So then now we're at the traditional wedding. The traditional wedding is the girl's family's responsibility. So the bride's family's responsibility, that's who does the traditional wedding. But in the meantime, nobody celebrates anything from the groom's side until a dowry has been put down in place and in agreement. In my case, our dowry talk was the day of the traditional wedding, and there would have not been a traditional wedding if there's no dowry that was agreed upon. And that's how it works in the South Sudanese community. So it started from the dowry talk started from 11 a.m. I like to say to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And once they had to the agreement, and then now the party starts. The party will start with the groom's side first, and then the bride side will come in and introduce me. So my aunts, my uncles, all the elders in my family, my girlfriends, my cousins, my sisters, all bring me in to the hall to my husband's family to say, here's your wife, here's your bride, we are now one as a family. So once the introductions are done and the dances are done, everyone eats, everybody's at peace. And my traditional wedding was fun. My girls look like royalty, like you see right here. And those those traditional outfits that were given to them, it was done by my aunts back home in South Sudan. And their beads as well. My aunt and them were preparing for this for over a year. So my girls look bomb.com. So that's how the traditional wedding went through. And it was really fun to just see both sides of the family dancing and dressed. So in the traditional aspect of it, I come in with my family's beads color, which were the green, and the dress. So those beads right here you see on my head, and the necklace beads, those represent my shuluk side. And then from my shuluk side, once I'm in, and once my husband's side accepts me, they take me and they change me. And as a symbolism, they put me in their colors to say, now we are one, and I am part of their family. So I think that's a beautiful moment. So that's how my traditional wedding kind of ended. The next day, we went and did our church wedding. So all of this was happening in the same city, thank God, and happening and almost in the same place. So the church wedding is where you wear your white dress, you do the hall, you do all of this. So it was a jam-packed weekend, and it was really fun. The morning was so peaceful. I have the best group of friends in my life. I can't even express to you how blessed I am. Blessed I was. When I look back in the morning of my wedding day, it was just so perfect. Perfect. My girls looked bomb. They looked amazing. They treated me like gold. I felt so loved and so cared for. And that's exactly what I always said about my wedding. I just want a fun day, and that's exactly what I got, because my girls are dope. Shout out to Julia, Lena, Dee Dee, Ashanti, Sarah, and Reese for being thebomb.com, because those girls I've known like since I was a child. Like, I think the one friend that I met last, I was 23, but it was instant connection. I'm now 31. And the youngest friend I've known is when I was 9 years old. So you can just tell like how deep. I don't like mess with, you know, rooting friendships that mean the world to me. In 8 months, I was able to accomplish the engagement, the wedding planning, 2 wedding plans, booking 2 halls, preparing for like over 300 guests for the wedding, and buying a dress, decoration, all that stuff. And I can't wait to show you guys all my tricks and tips of how I did this to survive, and what it means to have a really strong team on your side when you're planning your wedding. So if you guys want to hear more about my traditional wedding and see more about my traditional wedding and just my wedding in general, holla at your girl at the Selfish Column. But I am back. I am married. I'm a wife now. I'll show you a close-up of my ring as well. I wanted a single solitaire ring in a pear shape. That's something I always wanted. I've always found it to be very classy, very simple, straight to the point. And then my wedding band, I wanted like a different style wedding band. It was like a marquee cuts. I saw this on Pinterest and I fell in love with it, and I said this is exactly what I wanted. And together they just complement each other. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by at the Selfish Column and hearing me ramble about where I've been, what I've been doing. I hope you guys weren't too mad at me, and I hope you guys can help me continue pushing me to be a better content creator, better YouTuber, better makeup girl. If you really liked hearing about my wedding story, please let me know down, and if you want to see more content and videos about this, please let me know. I would love to share my tips. Before I go, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, because we're trying to win over here. Bye, guys.